There was once a nation called Aruvalon, a beautiful land of glowing mountains, rivers that once sparkled, and fields that once rose with golden harvests. But something had changed. Not in the soil, but in the hearts of the people. Fear had replaced unity. Pride had replaced humility. And hope had become a distant memory. Only a few still prayed. Among them, a quiet boy named Kael. Kael felt things before others saw them. He sensed storms approaching before clouds formed. He felt whispers in the wind before anyone else heard. And although he didn't understand why, he knew something was coming. One night, Kael dreamed. A golden voice echoed through the darkness and said, 3 signs will come, 3 warnings, 3 chances to return. Kael tried to speak, but the dream ended. He awoke trembling, unsure if it was just a dream or a message from heaven. He stepped outside. The sky felt too quiet, the air too still, and deep in his soul, he knew. The first sign was close. At midday, as the people worked in the fields, a strange sound filled the air. A hum, like 1,000 voices whispering at once. The sky tore open with a blinding beam of golden light. It wasn't sunlight. It wasn't fire. It was something alive. Shadows vanished instantly. The ground shook. Animals bowed their heads. People stared upward, frozen. Kael whispered, "This is the first sign." But the leaders of the land dismissed it. They laughed. They accused the fearful of imagination. And just like that, the sign faded. A few days later, a wind unlike any other swept through Aruvalon. It didn't howl. It roared. A deep, powerful sound, almost like the cry of a lion. The wind carried a strange warmth, and as it moved, broken things began to rise into the air. Old baskets repaired themselves. Cracked stone sealed itself. Wilted plants stood tall again. It wasn't destruction. It was restoration. People stared in fear and amazement. But still, they did not listen. That night, Kael fell to his knees. "God, I don't understand. What do you want me to do?" The voice returned, gentle yet mighty. "When they cannot hear the signs, they will hear your voice." Kael bowed his head. He didn't feel chosen. He didn't feel worthy. He simply felt small. But something inside him said, "Destiny does not wait for confidence. It waits for obedience." At dawn, the final sign appeared. A massive mountain on the edge of Aruvalon began to glow. First a faint red, then gold, then white, until the entire peak shone like a flaming torch. Yet nothing burned. The land wasn't harmed. The trees weren't touched. It was light, pure, divine, powerful. And then, a colossal glowing figure rose from within the mountain, extending far into the sky, towering above the land. The people fell to their knees in fear. The giant figure spoke, and its voice shook the earth. "Return to the way of truth. Return to the one who formed this land, or the land will return to silence." The people trembled, but the leaders clenched their fists in anger. They feared losing power more than losing the nation. Kael knew the signs were ending, and the consequences were near. A great darkness fell over Aruvalon. No sun, no moon, no stars. Just a deep, heavy darkness that felt alive. It lasted 7 days. People cried. Some prayed. Some blamed each other. Some hid in fear. Some humbled themselves for the first time in years. Kael waited. He knew darkness was never the final chapter. On the 7th night, Kael climbed the glowing mountain alone. Every step felt harder than the last, but he kept going. At the peak, he prayed, "God, they may not listen, but I do. Please, don't give up on us." The ground trembled. Clouds crackled with golden lightning, and the divine figure appeared once again. But this time, standing behind Kael as if protecting him, not in anger, but in mercy. Suddenly, a beam of golden fire split the sky. The darkness shattered like glass. Light poured over the land like a river. Mountains glowed, rivers sparkled, fields turned green before their eyes. Families embraced. Children laughed. People who had lost hope began to pray with tears in their eyes. Aruvalon was being reborn. The divine figure placed a glowing hand above Kael's head and said, "A nation that returns to light will never fear darkness again." Kael's eyes filled with light. Strength and wisdom flooded his spirit. He became the voice the nation needed. The warnings were over. The restoration had begun. As morning came, the darkness lifted completely. Golden sunlight covered the land. The mountains shone brighter than ever. Rivers sparkled like mirrors of heaven. Aruvalon stood restored, healed by mercy, not judgment. And Kael, once a quiet boy with strange dreams, became the storyteller who carried the nation's miracle to generations yet to come. The three signs had come. The nation had changed, and the God who loved them had saved them not to destroy, but to restore.